Welcome back, everyone, to our playthrough of the career mode here in NASCAR Heat 2. So we're now down to the round of 8, and this is basically it. This is what I would consider to be the final round of the playoff, because it's the final round that contains 3 races, and of course this round is where you put it all on the line so that you can obtain one of those final 4 spots to run for the championship in the final race of the season at Homestead. So this is it as far as I'm concerned, and let's take a quick look at the schedule. By now, most of us here are diehard NASCAR fans, so we kind of know what the schedule is from here to the remaining few races of the season, but let's take a quick look just to remind ourselves. So we're going to start out with Martinsville as the first race in this round of 8. Then we'll move on to Texas, and then we'll end up things in this round with Phoenix. And of course, if we're able to find ourselves into the final 4 slots, then we'll go to Homestead, Miami with a chance for a championship. So let's take a quick look at the playoff grid and see how things stack up here to begin this particular round. And you can see here, this is where things get really interesting because of our wins. Quite frankly, this is where the wins for Kyle Busch and us really start to pay off, because we're plus 18 and plus 16 respectively, and you can see that is a huge advantage for us. Now, if you look down below the top 4, you can see that Kurt Busch and Joey Logano in particular really need a lot of help. They're 18 and 19 points out. That is going to take some big moves on their part and some bad luck on the part of those ahead of them for them to really get in. But if you look at Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick, they are separated by only 6 points, and over the course of 3 races, that's not much. Brad Keselowski, 12 points out, which is more than he would want to be out, but still, over 3 races, that's just 4 positions per race. But you look down again at the bottom, and Joey Logano and Kurt Busch, for all intents and purposes, I would say they are in a must-win situation, and we're just starting the 3-race stretch here, so that's going to be difficult for them. So our goal over the next 3 races is to get at least 1 victory. And if we can't get a victory, then of course we're looking for top 10s at worst and top 5s, hopefully, if not victories. So now that we've got all of the preliminary stuff out of the way, it's time to begin the round of 8 at Martinsville. Before we get this race started, let's take a quick look at the setup, and you can see that I have the miscellaneous settings highlighted, and that's because that's the only changes I've made to the setup. I went up a full inch on the track bar from 8.5 to 9.5 inches on both the left and the right side, and then the brake bias I've moved forward by a few percentage. That's really it. Not huge changes, but just trying to help the car to rotate a little bit more. Again, we don't want to free up the setup so much that we just fly past these guys. We still want to keep this interesting and try to make it a challenge for us to get to the top 10, and then hopefully we can get to the top 10. We can maybe have a shot at a top 5, and if everything goes wonderfully, maybe a shot at the victory. All right, green flag here at Martinsville, and this should be interesting. Starting at the back anywhere can be a difficult task, but doing it here or at somewhere like Bristol is even more difficult. All right, so we're going to try to work our way through here as opportunities allow. Looks like we're 3 wide actually coming off that corner, or going into that corner. Oh, ouch. Well, there's no way to avoid contact at a place like this. It's just going to happen. So what you try to do is just keep everything calm and not get too worried about it, because it's just understand it's going to happen, even when you don't want it to happen. Everybody's fighting for the same little piece of real estate right around the bottom for the most part. So you've got to expect we're going to have disagreements. Let's see, we got smoke. Oh my goodness, look out. Wow, we got lucky getting through that one. They happened to be up in the second groove when all that happened. So thankfully that will allow us to get through. All right, so we're up 10 spots into the top 30 now. Woo. Ouch. Got run over from behind there. I'm trying not to get into the corner too deep because, number one, our car isn't handling to that great of an extent. I mean, we helped it out a little bit with the rotation, but by no means did we fix everything that we needed to in order for this car to handle great. We just threw another Band-Aid on it. Oh, yeah, it's under acceleration. That's where your rear spring split really comes in handy. And right now, we just don't have that to help the car turn. Watch out there, Kennington. Trying to stay off those curves. But right now, the most pressing thing to me is trying to figure out how I'm going to get off these corners, because the car is really tight from the center of the corner off, so I got to figure out the best way possible to take care of that situation and be able to get off the corners, because remember, the center of the corner off is where you're going to make your passes. So Danica's trying to fit down in front of us. And of course, the bottom's where you want to be. So all of these folks are not going to be happy if we push them out to the outside. Like, oh, 24 right there is going to try to get back down. So you can't really blame them for trying to do that. But it's always a chance that you're taking whenever you do that. Whenever you really force yourself down in front of the guys in front of you, you take the chance that they're not going to let you in. And instead, they're going to dump you going through the corner. And maybe not even meaning to. Alright, so right now, trying to find a rhythm. Things have definitely spread out a little bit more. Woo! Okay, touched the gas a little bit there in the center of the corner, and the car just went straight. There we go. Get off that corner nicely. Now we're into the top 20 after 14 laps. Oh, you can see we got a really good run off the corner compared to those in front of us. But you can also see that we're not exactly pulling away from them. I mean, it's a struggle to get by these guys. Again, I'm braking a little bit early going into the corner, trying to give these guys some room. I really don't want to make contact with anyone. And I particularly don't want to do it on corner entry and run somebody over. Good run there on Menard, so we'll take that spot. And then we come to, ouch, we'll come to Truex, the first of our competitors. So definitely not good points wise for Truex to be this far back in the field. This is not where he wants to be. Alright, so when you have an open track, the few times on this type of track that where you actually do have some open air to breathe, one of the things you can do is sort of diamond the corner a little bit if you're tight. Now obviously if the car is handling great, you don't need to. You can just roll around the bottom the whole way through the corner. But if the car is tight, you can open things up in the center of the corner and let the car rotate a little bit easier on its own.
Stay on the bottom. Easy, easy. Clear all the way.
this case, that's something that we could really use, is that ability, but the likelihood of us getting very much time to do that is pretty small.
Steady. Outside clear.
All right, another good run off the corner. You can see clearly that's where we're beating these guys.
Still a car out there.
So that's where our passes are going to be made.
Stay low. Steady.
Even though we're not handling the way I would want to. The main thing is we're not loose off the corner, because loose off the corner is very difficult to manage, because it means that you're losing speed coming off the corner because you're having to back off the throttle,
Steady.
and something you just cannot afford to do. Watch out, number 3.
All steady well. Clear.
Yep, that's one of those times with contact like I mentioned. He got into the center of the corner, backed off a little bit more than I was expecting, and it happened. So we're up into 13th, which it doesn't feel like we should be up into 13th to me. We're here on lap 23, so we've got plenty of time. It's a 65 lap race, so we've got some time to make up spots, again, if we've got the speed. All right, let's see how the car does when I let it free flow a little bit more through these corners. Try out some different lines. Try to hold it tight to the bottom versus letting it go out a little bit higher. All right, didn't have quite enough to keep it down to the floor on exit there. You could hear me trying to modulate the throttle as best I could to control that. All right, now we've caught this group in front of us.
All steady well. Clear.
Oh, that's just tight, 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 tight. Driving it in too deep, and then fighting the car for the rest of the corner, trying to get it to rotate.
Inside still there. Clear. All steady well.
All right, you can see right in front of us is a top 10.
Clear.
And of course, for our points position to get into the top 4 in the playoffs for that trip to Homestead, that would be excellent.
Stay low. Steady.
Top 5s and top 10s are exactly what you need to get yourself in, but to make sure that we can get in, we want to win. All right, Amarola, we are closing in on him very quickly. Oh, way too tight there, way too tight. And that was simply me getting too aggressive with the throttle mid-corner. Whenever I get back to the throttle too quickly, it just goes straight. All right, good run off the corner there. Let's see. Trying to size up Amarola and see if I can figure out where I can get a good run on him. Oh, this may be the spot.
Steady.
All right, now we'll try to drag race him down into the next corner and make the pass. Go ahead and clear him as we go through this corner. Okay, and it works. So now we're up to 9th. And now the problem we're going to run into is that guys are going to be a lot more spread out. So we'll have to see how close nearby 8th position is, and then 7th, and so on. And of course, that's all assuming that we have the speed to get to these guys and get by them to begin with. So we're coming up on some lap traffic. Next couple of cars are going to be lap cars. Guys that we started around at the beginning of this race. So we'll try to clear them as quickly as we can. And I already see there is a pretty large group of cars. Oh, ouch. The 3 car is sitting right in the middle of the road. I did not see that coming. In fact, I had DJ Kennington, for some reason, trying to get to my inside as we were going through that corner instead. And as he was beating on my bumper, suddenly the 3 car appeared right in front of me. So definitely not what you want to see. So we'll get it started up and try to go again. Luckily for us, we didn't miss any spots. We didn't lose anything there other than some time. So we're just past halfway, a few laps past halfway in the race. And again, we're in the top 10, so we're in good shape there. And once again, we'll try to get through the lap traffic.
Outside. All clear, all clear.
Alright, we should be able to get to the inside of Kennington. And once again, there's that big group that I was talking about. There definitely should be some lead lap cars there in this group. I see Kevin Harvick, who is one of our playoff contenders. He definitely needs some great runs over the next 3 races to try to get himself in, if not a victory. And we've got some laps to get there and try to get by these guys. Alright, so Harvick is indeed in 8th. I see Kurt Busch up here as well. So a pair of teammates. And wow, okay, as I look through there, I see the 5, I see the 2. So it looks like we've got a lot of lead lap cars up here in this group. And as normal, my guess, ouch, my guess is going to be that there is some lap traffic up here in front of all this that is holding everything up. Oh, you can see the AI getting very aggressive. Lots of beating and banging. Wow. So Kurt Busch goes spinning. I don't know who did that. I think the 2 car is back there with him, so that might have been what caused that. Yeah, the 2 car is now right behind us. We're in 7th with Harvick right in front of us, and then some lap traffic. Oh goodness, another stopped car on the track. We're going to try to use this 13 car as a pick to get by Harvick.
Still there, he's outside. Clear quick.
All right, Casey Kane having a great run. Up into the top 5. All right, so we're up into 6th position. So our goal was top 5, and if we can get to the top 5,
Still a car out there. All clear.
then our goal will be to go for that victory. Alright, so the 5 was having nothing to do with us getting to his inside there, so we'll have to back up, try it again. Ooh. People going every which direction going into that corner. Alright, looks like we've got... Thought I saw Junior right up there in front. I haven't seen Junior yet in this race. So that may actually be him in front of us. Alright, 7 car.
Clear, clear.
Alright, so 6th position just outside the top 5. And it's time for us to go.
Still a car out there. Clear out.
Alright, so Joey Gates thankfully gives us plenty of room. So no issues there. Oh, great run on the 5 and the 88 for that matter.
Still a car out there.
Alright, not going to have quite enough juice to get to the inside of the 88. So we'll try to work on the 5 car. See if we can't
Easy, easy.
finish off this pass. Oh. All right, 88. That was a little odd because I definitely made contact with him, but not near hard enough for what happened to him. All right, so we'll move on. We're up to 5th now. Somehow. There's the 3 car who we broadsided a little bit earlier in the race. You gotta love Martinsville. All right, so now Kyle Busch having a great run in 4th position, or about to take 3rd from Denny Hamlin, and we're right here with them. Of course, you can see Jimmy Johnson right up there as well. All right, so we've got some laps to get this thing done, I think. It's just going to be a matter of positioning ourselves properly and getting some great runs off the corner. There's one of them. Woo. Turn, car, turn. I also noticed that Kevin Harvick is right behind us. Just waiting. All right, Jimmy Johnson. Oh, we got Kurt Busch down on the bottom here. All right, we're going to try to maintain this position on Jimmy Johnson. Sorry, Jimmy, we cannot let you in right here. Position on Busch as well. This will be for 2nd. But you can see that these guys are not going anywhere. Oof. Woo. Kurt Busch trying really hard to keep that position, even though he is at least 1 lap down. So we're up to 2nd. Now we got to figure out who's leading and can we get to him. Oh, dreadfully tight. All right, I'm trying to think of who would be left for the front of the field, because we've passed a lot of cars that you expect to see at the front of the field. And as I glance out in front of me, I can't think of who would be leading right now. Let's see, have we seen Logano? Just trying to think of anybody that would normally be at the front or close to the front that we haven't seen yet. And Logano right now is the only one coming to mind that I don't remember seeing so far. But I don't see him ahead of me, so that's not good if it's him. Oh, way too deep into that corner. All right, so we're coming up on more lap traffic with Chris Buescher. All right, 5 more laps, and, well, I can't even see the leader at this point. Wow, we got more traffic in front of us. What in the world is going on? That was multiple cars stopped. All right, 95 car, there's no reason for you to be trying to get down in front of me.
Get to the bottom, get to the bottom. Hold steady wheel. Third time.
All right, we got a great run on Buescher.
All clear.
All right, we clear him, and we're getting right down to it now. We're running out of laps to even be able to see the leader, much less try to catch him and pass him. So right now I have no idea who's leading. I do know that behind us we're not really feeling any pressure for position. Also, let's see, Matt Kenseth. Have I seen Matt Kenseth? Wait, there's Matt Kenseth in front of us. All right, so there we go. We come home second, which I think is pretty amazing, considering everything that happened in that race. Lots and lots of contact. Again, I don't like the contact. It's inevitable at a place like this, but I would prefer to go every race without making contact with anyone. But just not possible sometimes. So let's see, who won? Wow, Daniel Suarez won this race. Excellent job by him. Excellent job. So we'll come home with a second place finish, $151,000 for our troubles, plus the $140,000 we get for our normal paycheck. We're up to $21.4 million and no way to spend it. So that does great things for our points position. We're now 20 points to the good, in a tie for first with Kyle Busch, and then Jimmy Johnson is +3, and now Martin Truex is the one on the bubble with Kevin Harvick now 6 points behind. The bad thing is Logano and Busch are in terrible positions. Keselowski 13 points out is not looking good at all, but we know Keselowski and Harvick, actually all the guys that are left in this top 8, are capable of a win, so nobody is safe at this point regardless of your points paying position. So Kyle Busch comes home with the fastest lap, and we'll head back to the main menu. Wow. Okay, so an action-packed race. If you like lots of contact and cars being stopped on the track and all sorts of things like that, then that was your kind of race. So now we come home with a second place finish, really solidifying our spot in the points and getting ourselves off to a great start in this round of 8. We're going to leave it here for now. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more as we play through the career mode here in NASCAR Heat 2.